Hash, breaking free from attachment, the wisdom of emptiness. Hello everyone. Last time we explored together love that transcends the self, the bodhisattva mind. Today we'll deeply explore emptiness, the most core teaching of the Prajñāpāramitā Sūtra, the wisdom that frees us from attachment. When you hear the word emptiness, what feeling do you get? Do you perhaps feel something hollow or lonely? Many people misunderstand emptiness to mean nothing exists. But the emptiness spoken of in the Prajñāpāramitā Sūtra has a completely different meaning. Emptiness doesn't mean nihilism, but infinite possibility, not annihilation, but true freedom, not loneliness, but connection with everything. Emptiness, the Sanskrit word shunyata, comes from a root meaning to swell up. Like a balloon full of air while its inside is empty, all phenomena are full while simultaneously having no fixed substance. This isn't just a philosophical concept, but practical wisdom that solves all problems in our lives. One of the greatest sufferings we who live in modern times experience is attachment. Attachment to success, attachment to being recognized, attachment to relationships, attachment to youth and health, anxiety about the future, and regret about the past. We're caught by countless things. The wisdom of emptiness is the key that frees us from all these attachments. Hash. Why having more wants makes us more unhappy. We think that having more will make us happier. We believe we'll be happy if we have a better house, better car, higher position, more money, more recognized work. But what's the reality? When we get one thing, we want another, we worry about losing what we have, and we still feel lacking when comparing ourselves to others, don't we? This is because we fundamentally misunderstand the mechanism of happiness. Happiness doesn't come from external conditions, but from inner states. No matter how much we have, if there's a mind that clings to it, it's difficult to gain true satisfaction. Psychology calls this the hedonic adaptation phenomenon. When good things happen, we're initially happy, but soon adapt to that state and return to similar happiness levels as before. Then we need bigger stimulation or more things, falling into an endless cycle of desire. There's also the endowment effect phenomenon. We assign greater value to what we own than its actual worth and have excessive fear about losing it. This fear creates continuous stress and anxiety. More fundamentally, there's the self-expansion phenomenon. We consider what we own as part of ourself. My house, my car, my job, even my family. We think of these as extensions of me. So when these things are threatened or damaged, it feels like the self itself is being attacked. The Prajñāpāramitā Sūtra explains this phenomenon as ego clinging. Believing there's a fixed self and the desire to expand and protect that self is the root of all attachment. But actually no such fixed self exists. Neuroscience research also supports this. There's no specific part of the brain responsible for self. The feeling of self is a kind of illusion created by complex interactions of various brain regions. Like how movies are made from rapidly consecutive still frames, the self is also a story made from continuously changing experiences. So should we live wanting nothing? That's also extreme thinking. The wisdom of emptiness spoken of in the Prajñāpāramitā Sūtra isn't about suppressing desires, but not clinging to desires. It's okay to want things and work toward them, but not completely depending on those results. This is similar to the modern psychology concept of psychological flexibility, the ability to acknowledge one's thoughts, emotions, and desires as they are while not being completely controlled by them. Research shows people with this flexibility live more adaptive, creative, and happy lives. # breaking free from the illusion of me. The most important part of the wisdom of emptiness is the realization of no self, that there's no fixed self. This doesn't mean you don't exist. It means what we commonly think of as me isn't actually a fixed substance, but a continuously changing process. Take a moment to look at yourself. Are you from 10 years ago and you now the same person? Most of your body's cells have changed, your thoughts and values have changed a lot, and what you like and dislike have changed. So what makes you you? We usually consider body, emotions, thoughts, memories as me. But all these things constantly change. The body is replaced with new cells every moment. Emotions change moment to moment. Thoughts appear and disappear like passing clouds. And even memories are reconstructed each time. According to neuroscientists' research, memory isn't stored in fixed form like computer files. Each time we recall a memory, the brain reconstructs it anew, and in that process, current situations or emotions influence and transform the memory. So even our past isn't fixed, but keeps changing according to present perspectives. So what creates the feeling of continuity? It's story. We weave changing experiences into one coherent story to create the identity of me. This story is very useful, but it's not absolute truth. Psychologist Dan McAdams called human identity narrative identity. We selectively remember our experiences and give them meaning to create coherent stories. But multiple stories are possible, and they can always be rewritten. For example, a failure experience from school days can be made into the story, "I'm a failure," or "that experience made me stronger." The same facts become completely different identities, depending on what story they're woven into. Existentialist philosopher Sartre said, "Humans are beings who continuously create themselves. There's no predetermined essence. We create ourselves through our choices and actions." This is very similar to Buddhism's teaching of no self. When this realization comes, you experience amazing freedom. You no longer need to be trapped in the fixed image of, "I'm this kind of person." You can always make new choices, explore new possibilities, and become a new self. You can also escape self-criticism or self-hatred. If there's no fixed substance called me, there's no target to criticize or hate. There are just thoughts or emotions happening in this moment, and they pass like clouds. ##, the realization that everything is connected. What comes with the realization of no self is dependent origination, the realization that everything is interconnected. If there are no fixed individual beings, everything can only exist within relationships. The distinction between me and you, subject and object, inside and outside, are just relative. Let me give an example. Think about the clothes you're wearing right now. What conditions were needed for those clothes to exist? Raw materials like cotton or wool, farmers' efforts to grow them, sunlight and rain and soil, textile technology, dyes, designer creativity, factory workers' labor, transportation, sellers. Countless conditions came together to create those clothes. Going deeper, all those conditions also depend on other conditions. Farmers depend on seeds and farming tools. Seeds depend on previous generation plants. Farming tools depend on metals and technology. Following this path, we can see that the entire universe is connected. Vietnamese Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh called this interbeing. He said, holding a piece of paper, he sees clouds and sunlight and trees and lumberjacks in it. Without all those things, the paper couldn't exist. Modern ecology presents the same perspective. An ecosystem is one giant network where all living things live interdependently. Like how one species' extinction can have unexpected effects on the entire ecosystem, everything is connected. When this realization of interconnectedness comes, you can escape from the feeling of separation, the loneliness that I and the world are separate, the burden that I must handle everything alone, the pressure to compete with others. You can break free from these. Instead, you can feel the safety of being connected to everything. When I'm struggling, there are people to help. When I'm doing well, there are people to rejoice with me. Even when I die, the influences I've left continue. ##. How to do your best without clinging to results. One of the most practical ways to actually apply the wisdom of emptiness is doing your best while not clinging to results. This might sound contradictory, but it often brings better results. Let's first look at why excessive attachment to results actually produces poor results. Excessive attachment to results creates anxiety and pressure. In this emotional state, creativity drops, likelihood of mistakes increases, and flexible response becomes difficult. The choking effect in sports psychology is a good example. When you're too nervous wanting good results, you actually perform worse than usual. This phenomenon often appears when making important putts in golf or taking penalty kicks in soccer. Conversely, when you reduce pressure about results and focus on process, better results often come. This is called flow state. When completely immersed, time sense disappears and you naturally demonstrate your best ability. So specifically, what should we do? First, distinguish between goals and attachment. Goals are like a compass providing direction, while attachment is being completely hung up on those goals. Set goals, but maintain the ease that those goals aren't the only criteria for success. Second, pay more attention to process. Focus on doing your best in this moment rather than results. Focus on the learning in the study process rather than test scores. On growth through work rather than promotion. Third, keep multiple possibilities open. Don't insist on only one outcome, but acknowledge various possibilities. Have the mindset that if plan A doesn't work, there are plans B and C. Fourth, see failure as learning opportunity. Even if desired results don't come, think of it not as the end, but as a new beginning. Lessons learned from failure can become the foundation for greater success. ##, the art of loving without possessing. One area where the wisdom of emptiness is most needed is human relationships. We want to possess those we love, hope they'll never change, and want them to act according to our expectations. But this attachment often ruins relationships and suffocates the other person. True love is freedom, not possession. It's accepting the other person as they are, sincerely wishing for their growth and happiness, and sometimes being able to bless them even when they move away from us. This is what the Prajñāpāramitā Sūtra calls love without gain. This wisdom is especially important in parent-child relationships. Many parents treat children like their possessions, expect them to fulfill their dreams instead, and hope they'll grow in the direction they want. But children are independent beings who must walk their own paths. If you truly love your children, you should help them make their own choices, support them when they fail, and respect them even when they have different values from yours. Of course, providing right direction and advice is necessary, but ultimately you must acknowledge children's autonomy. The same applies to romantic or marital relationships. If you try to change the other person, make them fit your expectations, or think you must become completely one, the relationship suffocates. Healthy relationships are when two independent beings choose to be together. "I can't live without you" might sound romantic, but actually puts great burden on the other person. True love is the heart that says, "I could be happy without you, but I'm happier when I'm with you." So specifically, how can we love without possessing? First, respect the other person's independence. Acknowledge and support that they have their own space, time, friends, hobbies, and dreams. Second, let go of expectations. Give up expectations that the other person must be this way or that way, and accept what they show you as it is. Third, practice unconditional love. Have the heart that says, "I love you whatever you're like," rather than, "I'll love you if you do this for me." Fourth, focus on the quality of time together. What matters more is how completely you focus on each other when together, rather than being together for a long time. ##, how to live with a free mind. When you embody the wisdom of emptiness, your mind becomes free. Your happiness is no longer influenced by external conditions. You don't get elated or dejected by others' evaluations. And you don't miss the present by being stuck in the past or worrying about the future. True freedom depends not on what you do, but what mind you do it with. The first characteristic of a free mind is being able to stay in the present. You can be fully here in this moment without being trapped by regrets about the past or anxieties about the future. The past is already gone and can't be changed. The future hasn't come yet and isn't certain. Only this moment is certain. Practice staying in the present. Right now, in this moment, feel your breathing, feel your body sensations, listen to sounds around you. Each time thoughts wander to past or future, practice gently returning to the present. The second characteristic is being able to observe without judging. You can see and accept things as they are without immediately judging them good or bad. When it rains, accept it as just it's raining rather than annoying rain. When someone treats you unkindly, observe that person is acting unkindly right now, rather than judging them as a bad person. Judgment puts us on an emotional roller coaster. When we judge something good, we become attached. When we judge something bad, we reject it or get angry. But when we observe without judgment, the mind becomes peaceful. The third characteristic is recognizing freedom of choice. In any situation, we have choices. Even if we can't change the situation itself, we can choose our response to it. As Viktor Frankl said, everything can be taken from a person but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. Every moment we're choosing, whether to get angry or endure, whether to resent or forgive, whether to despair or have hope. When we recognize this freedom of choice, we can escape victim consciousness and have owner consciousness. Living with the wisdom of emptiness doesn't mean doing nothing. Rather, it enables more active and creative living. With reduced fear of failure, you can take on new challenges. Caring less about others' opinions, you can walk your own path. With less attachment to results, you can enjoy the process itself. Relationships also become healthier. Since you don't try to possess others, you can love more truly. With reduced defensiveness, you can communicate more openly, and you can naturally accept others' changes. You can also achieve better results at work. Free from pressure to be perfect, you can approach things more creatively. Not fearing mistakes, you can make innovative attempts, and teamwork improves too. The wisdom of emptiness isn't acquired overnight. It gradually deepens through steady practice and reflection. At first, it might be difficult to understand or practice, but if you start with small things and gradually apply them, you'll come to experience their effects. Sometimes you might fall back into attachment. That's also a natural process. Don't criticize yourself. Just awaken again. Pursuing perfection is itself a kind of attachment. What's important is direction. Making even small efforts to break free from attachment, cultivate a free mind, and try to view life from a broader perspective. That effort itself is already practicing the wisdom of emptiness. I sincerely hope your life becomes more free, peaceful, and meaningful through this wisdom of emptiness. Breaking free from the chains of attachment and experiencing true freedom, that's the greatest gift the Prajñāpāramitā Sutra offers us. Please start practicing letting go of small attachments one by one from today. Next time, we'll explore together the actual practice of prajna cultivation that creates an awakened daily life. Thank you sincerely for sharing this precious time with me today.